Write your own path with opportunities.
Hello, Authortunists. I am so excited to be with you today because I have a very special guest and I have his book in my Kindle right now. I've just started it. It's Dale L. Roberts, Self-Publishing for New Authors. But there's a lot of information as I've scanned through that is really for all authors. There's always something you've missed. So I'm going to let Dale introduce himself and then talk about his book a little bit and tell us what is is there one thing that you wish writers knew, in writing this? Is that why you wrote it? And I'm very excited to have you here, by the way.
Oh man, I'm likewise, and I know this has been a long time in the making. You and I have just been DMing each other over on Substack, so I'm just really geeked up to do this. The funny thing about this book is it's the book I wrote for myself from 10 years ago. When I first broke into this business, I went into it completely with a lot of naivety. Like I really thought this was just going to be just write the book and everything's going to work out perfectly. When I had launched my first book, I think it was March of 2014. I might be off by a month or so. When I launched that, my first paycheck came a couple months later, and it was like $21 and some odd cents. And it was like blood in the water to me. I thought, this is it. I'm going to make it big. If I could just focus on this full time, money's going to rain down upon me. I literally burn the boats. Like I was ready to just go all in, and I put in a 30-day notice at a perfectly good job at a senior living community, and I loved my job there. And I got into it, and I tell you what, it sucked, and I made a lot of mistakes in my first couple of years, a ton of them. And so this book was my answer. If I could just go into a time machine like Marty McFly and just deliver this book to myself back then, I think it would be a completely different story with a lot less heartache. And maybe at the end of it, I'd probably have a full head of hair. So all joking aside, though, yeah, this was the culmination of 10 years of work of me just really putting into everything I have learned up to this point and trying to guide people so they're not falling into any of the potholes and stumbling up and losing lots of money. Because I think, as you probably saw, the hook of the book is my backstory of me going to my wife and pleading with her like, hey, $1,200, let's go get a pallet full of books. And she was like, whose money? And I'm like, ours? That was a no-go. Right. Yeah. She wasn't feeling the investment, whether it was $12 or $1,200. And so that right there was just, this book is me giving this little letter to myself. And hopefully that will reach somebody at the right time, so they're not being burned with a $1,200 bill or, ruining relationships with their, significant other or family because they're, having to beg, borrow, and steal in order to, realize their dream of becoming a published author.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fantastic. And I actually haven't been able to read that because I literally just downloaded it probably 2 hours ago. And then I had to go grocery, all that comes into play. It ruins our author life, ruining our author life. So now I'm truly doubly excited to read this story. I think it's going to be a drama or a horror. I'm trying to decide.
Maybe a little more towards drama. I think if I had my way, I'd probably go with full horror, though.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Well, I got to listen to you earlier today. You were talking with Evan Gao. Did I say that right, Gao?
Yep, you did.
Evan
Yeah,
Gao.
absolutely.
Okay, good. I was listening to you guys talk, and then he talked about you dropped everything, and so did he. So, really ballsy, both of you. And that's what I did, but I was retiring, so it's a little bit different. You dropped everything to be a self-published author, and that's pretty scary. I actually wonder if that's not what helped you, though, because you are a big success now, and there was no safety net. And I feel like that's great inspiration. Like, how do you see that? And also, way to dedicate yourself to the arts.
It's not something I would recommend to everybody. Thankfully, I did have a little bit of a safety net and financially speaking, and my wife was already independent. She was working in her own business as with Amazon FBA. So she would go to stores and source products that she could send to Amazon, mark it up for a certain amount beyond that, so we'd be able to make a living. And she did it pretty successfully. And that was actually one of the points I was able to kind of share with her. Like, look, I can leave my job and I can part-time help you while I become an author. And that did work out that way. But unfortunately, with how little I was pulling in from my writing for the first couple of years, I spent quite a bit of time as her sidekick, going through to stores. We would be up till 2-3 o'clock in the morning, sometimes heading out to various Walmarts that were open up till 24 hours. And I would just be exhausted, taking my phone, scanning products. It was just a drag. So when I finally was able, my business took off right about the time that her FBA business started taking a nosedive. And it was rather good timing. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend it because, yeah, we blew through all of my savings. We blew through my 401k that I had, plenty saved up for. Ended up eating a lot on taxes because of me blowing through that 401k. And then we maxed out all the credit cards. It was bad. So even when I started seeing my first taste of success in 2016, it's fun. You're celebrating. You're like, yay, I'm selling lots of books. This is great. I need to sell quicker.
Yeah.
And so I think we really didn't we didn't get our heads above the water until probably about 2018. That was when it really, like, everything was finally like, we're breathing a sigh of relief. We were able to zero out all of her college debt because she carried that for a number of years. So we ended up being debt free, and it was a great transition. But I think if I had to do it all over again, I probably would have taken the safe route. But you're right.
Mhm.
I think it was like famous actor Will Smith said before he slapped anybody that don't give yourself a plan B, because otherwise you'll give yourself an excuse to fail.
Yeah.
And I'm paraphrasing him on this one, but I think maybe you're right. Maybe if I had done it differently, who knows if I'd be in this position that I am. I mean, I guess I smell like smoke because I've been through fire. And I think probably the same thing happened for you, leaving a perfectly good job to pursue your life as an author. But doesn't it feel good though when you finally made it? You
does.
almost like weep on a regular basis of like, oh my gosh, I finally made it.
Yeah, well, and I've got to give you a little plug, and authors like Joanna Penn, and there's
She's awesome.
this tight-knit community of self-publishing. I mean, insert all the names here that you want, because there's quite a few, a core group, Ally, Orna Ross, there's these people that, as I entered this world, because I came from newspapers, came to fiction completely different. And also no credits. You can't be like, oh yeah, I worked at the newspaper. Who cares? Like, what have you published? What story do you have? You don't even know how to write story. And I really leaned on you guys going ahead of me, kind of like, oh, well, Dale said to do this, or Orna said to do this. I'm not going to do that. Dale said, don't mortgage your house. So I really owe everything I have to you guys going forward. So. Thank you for that, because everything at that time was brand new, self-publishing. You couldn't get an ebook. That was so difficult, and everybody's learning one little trick that they'd share, and then the industry is where it's at now, which I feel like it's kind of taking over. Like, it's a very definite choice that an author can make at this point.
Yeah, it's so incredible. And I think, you bring up a good few names. Michael Aron was a great one in my development. Let's see here. Julie Broad from Book Launchers. She was fantastic. And I think a lot of people, and the funny thing is I've been criticized by a lot of other people for being so open and so willing to share information and not put it behind an expensive paywall. I played with that model before, but I never felt right about it, because I know that the position that I was in, I would never be able to afford that $800 course or that $3,000 coaching program. And so that's why I really try to offer this freely and willingly. And not to mention, like, I'm making a substantial amount of money from publishing books and also publishing videos via YouTube that honestly don't need to put these high-priced designer courses that are going to teach you stuff that you could, otherwise be able to piecemeal together from various sources on your own. And something could probably be said about spending $900 not to piecemeal all the information from Google searches. But in the same instance, I feel like Joanna Penn is a great example. Like, she has freely and willingly given this information, and she's walking the walk, talking the talk, and definitely a hero in the business for sure. So when I got the opportunity to interview her a year before last, oh, it was a bucket list type situation. I was so elated about it. But yeah, thank you so much. All that to say that, I do appreciate that. And, hopefully by you sharing your insights as well, somebody else is going to get that same effect that's going to have a rippling wave across, the whole world here.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I think one of the generosity is important, especially in, say, writing and basically art. We're making art because nobody reads one book and now they're done. There's no competition. We're all supporting each other,
Yeah.
If they like you and they see my name in there, then they might like me, or vice versa. So I love that attitude of sharing and that very generous nature that you see in this community in general. So just the best. Generosity. Yeah. Speaking of generosity, though, you have a ton of new books. Instead of charging courses and doing these paywalls and everything, you're just publishing them all in books, so like for under $10, about the cost of a coffee, you can get all this knowledge. And I know I have the first one, self-publishing for new authors, and you have another one coming out next week already.
Yeah.
Right?
By the way, I'm loving you. You just keep pushing my book. I love it. More interviewers need to do that. Yeah. It's next week is going to be the second part in an 8-part series that is already written. I've been sitting on these publications since 2021. I took all of 2022 to study fiction writing. I hired a writing coach, and I just put all this stuff on hold because I really wanted to devote all of my time to understanding how to be a better fiction writer. But I finally, 2023 came and rolled around, and I was like, oh my gosh, I got all these books. Let me write some more. And you think I'm joking. The thing is, I literally did that. I started writing more. And next thing I know, I've got 8 publications that are sitting there. And I'm like, I said to my editor, you ready to, it's go time. And she's like, let's do this. And so, yeah, I wanted to kind of get everything I know put together in every single book, because my ultimate plan is to pivot over to fiction writing for good. Like, I want to go over to fiction writing and just be done with it. So get out all of the information that people could possibly want. If I need to update it from time to time, not an issue. That's totally, no problem. But yeah, I'm walking everybody through all of the different steps. So I understand that with the new author's book, that a lot of my audience are established authors. So this second book is going to be where people can kind of pick up and really start to, elevate their business and start to make more of a living out of it, and not trying to rely on just a book sale alone. It's just diversifying that portfolio. The next book in the series is going to be Amazon advertising for books. I'm diving deep into that. And then the one following that is networking for authors. Now, the 4 following it, my apologies, it all gets mixed up from there. I'm just trying to take it 1 month at a time. But yeah, I'm just trying to put all this information together. And my ultimate goal is to finally officially pivot over to writing horror fiction. So I had to say horror. Otherwise, like our conversation we had just before we went and hit the record button.
Yes. Well, yes, I'm very excited for reasons, many, many reasons about you writing horror. It is public knowledge now that I'm going to be the next Horror Writers Association president, because we haven't done elections yet, but there's no candidates. So, yeah. So I'm going to say personally, I'm very excited.
I'm pumped up for you. That's really, really cool. Now I know somebody famous. So.
Well, I was just going to say that. Yeah, excuse me. I have had allergies lately. I want to talk a little bit. I am already going to buy all the books. I will have all these books. If you could distill down everything in your books, though, and I do apologize about the allergies, do you have anything that really stands out that authors should do, like best practices?
Wow. I think one of the biggest hangups I see a lot of authors doing, and you're going to probably sense this across the entire series, is that marketing and promotion. I hear this a lot. I think a lot of writers just want to write it and be done with it. If that's the case, then self-publishing might not be the route for you. And even then, a trad pub deal doesn't guarantee that you're going to have marketing and promotion done for you. So, because I mean, there's sometimes where they're just like, hey, we'll sign you on, but you got to go out and market and promote it. But I think the thing is a lot of authors really get stuck on I'm not a good marketer. I'm not a good promoter. They always say this. Well, become good at it. And I try to make it as basic as possible whenever I tell people what marketing and promotion is all about. It's about being visible. It's not about who's got the deepest pockets and who can throw in as much money as they can into Facebook ads or Amazon ads. Sometimes it's about being creative and getting yourself in front of your ideal audience. If you're a children's book author, where should you be going? You should be going to libraries, running workshops, doing readings, doing author signings, going to local schools and book fairs. If any of those actually, any niche could probably lean on those. Although I don't know that you're going to be wanting to go to a school if you're writing erotica. That probably makes no sense. I think you probably get ejected immediately. But get as visible as possible so that way you have increase the likelihood of someone wanting to purchase your book or check it out at the local library. And yeah, that is what I really try to implore with authors is don't just I'm not a great marketer. I'm not a good promoter. That's okay. Just make yourself visible. That's the important thing is just because you've published the book doesn't mean people know about it. The only way for people to know about it is you're going to have to build a giant, large neon sign above your head. I briefly spoke with you before we got connected here, and this interview is part of course, many interviews that I'm going out and I'm promoting this. Think of it kind of like, oh gosh, Deadpool and Wolverine's gigantic right now. What are they? They've already made like $1 billion in ticket sales in the last week. That's a movie. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman have been doing interviews leading up to this for months upon months, and they're continuing to do that. Why is it successful? Well, of course, it's part of a huge, franchise in Marvel comic universe, but it's because they got out and they did the legwork and they did all those interviews and they got themselves super visible. I think right now I'm on week 2 of doing interviews. I'm probably up to, I would say nearly a dozen at this point. It starts to pile up after a while. So my apologies if that's give or take like a few interviews, but it's just getting out there. And the nice part about it is like, I don't think you're charging me. Are you, Angela?
Oh, I was going to tell you that.
Send a bill in the mail. Dang it. Yeah. So that's the thing is interviewers are looking for people to showcase on there. And same thing would go for local media. Reach out to your local news station, reach out to podcasters, get a hold of people on YouTube. YouTubers are looking for interviewers all the time. Now, I'm not currently looking for any. So if anybody starts sending you like, I've got my whole interviews on hold for podcasts, but I will return to it here relatively soon. But, all that to say that it's get out there, get as visible as possible. You don't need to burn a hole in your pocket. It's just devoting a little bit of time and becoming slightly uncomfortable. I haven't told you, Angela, and I've shared this in previous interviews before, is I'm an introvert, but I know that in order to really gain any type of traction or success in this business, I need to get past that hurdle of being shy, of not wanting to get into interviews. Now, I'm going to tell you this, like right now, I'm drenched in sweat. It's because it's requiring a lot of my mental capacity, and I've got 50,000 conversations going on in my head. And so every single one of my interviews, I'm typically just drenched in sweat after I'm done because I'm fighting that introverted, tendencies that I have, that wallflower that I usually am, because I know that this is for the greater good. Am I telling everybody that they should do the same thing I am? Possibly. You might want to consider it and just get yourself doing at least one at a time. Try one at a time. A great resource to check out, and it's 100% free. You can get it upgraded, but I wouldn't recommend it. Podcastguests.com. Podcastguests.com has a bi-weekly newsletter. They send out Mondays and Thursdays of podcasts looking for guests and guests looking for podcasts. You're going to do a lot of sifting, but you'll eventually find something that will resonate with you and your niche that you write within. And that is really big. But Podcast Guest pays me nothing to say this. In fact, I don't even know the people that run it. I think they have like 40,000 subscribers. So if you're able to get in there, good luck that this is good. I've landed about, I would say roughly a dozen or so interviews over the years using podcast guests. And I more recently resubscribed to the email newsletter because I'm back in business and I'm back to focusing on the whole promotional train, especially now that I'll be releasing a new book every day or every month, every day. Good Lord, save me. Every month for the next, 7 months. So it's a fun but hectic schedule, but I guess I signed myself up for this. Nobody else did.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, that is why you're succeeding. I love that you were honest about being an introvert. That's
Oh,
actually
yeah.
why I'm doing this now, is because I was terrified about being on camera. I was terrible on camera, doing all the wrong things, bad lighting, bad everything, not projecting, doing this, which is distracting. Oh, let me tell you, all the wrong things. And so I said to myself, because I'm terrible and terrified, I'm going to do a talk show once a week for 1 year, and then I'll quit and it'll be terrible and nobody will ever watch it, which is great. But I'm just going to make myself do it. And the first one is so horrible, so absolutely horrible. And I don't think about my appearance a lot.
Yeah.
Until you look at it. So we had just flown into Brazil and I was jet lagged and it's just awful. Don't go find it, please. But that's what we have to do to get to get anywhere. And so a lot of times people are like, publishing, marketing yourself is icky, gross. Ugh. But I'm like, it's the same as like, if you want to date somebody, you're marketing yourself. If you want a better job, if you want your boss to not fire you, you're marketing yourself because you're trying to put yourself in their vision in a better light. There's icky ways to do it. If you pretend to be somebody you're not and you're dating somebody, gross. Well, you're not doing that. We don't have to do that with marketing. It's just, I have this thing that I love or I wouldn't have done it. And I want you to love it too, so. But mostly I'm just like, yes, if you think you can't do something, find a way that you can do it. If we, a couple of introverts that are like nervous and sweaty and like jet lag trying to do terrible shows can do this, then anybody I think could probably do this. I don't want to put undue pressure on people, but
you're right. You're so right on this one. It and don't expect perfection. I got into the YouTube business back in 2016 and all those videos were awful. Oh my Lord. And at some point, like I did some green screen videos and they were just so cringy. They're still up on YouTube if you find them, like some from like 2017 when I started doing green screen. For whatever reason, I was shouting at the camera. Well, why am I shouting? What's the heck's the matter with me? Like, calm down, dude. Is this guy on too much caffeine? Spoiler alert. Yeah, I was on a lot of caffeine then. These days, caffeine's not my jam. But it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be perfect. But if you just do it one step at a time and you continue to improve and iterate and give yourself credit and a little bit of breathing room, you're going to find it'll be good. But I promise you, you'll never be as perfect in your mind as you think you're going to be. So just be okay with being imperfect.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I often tell people you will be perfect when you're dead. Or you'll be dead waiting to be perfect, so either way, just do the thing.
Yep.
But I want to talk a little bit about some of the other stuff you do, because I could sit here, we could trade. Just be imperfect, just do it, make the mistakes, go people, go. But I want to talk about some of the other stuff you do. You've got all these books coming out, you've got your YouTube show. Where is Dale? Dale is everywhere, and we appreciate that. We love Dale being everywhere, but that you tell us where all in case like I knew you from YouTube, and then now I think like literally today I found out you had books. So it was kind of like, oh my gosh, how, like it clicked, like, oh yeah, he has books. He talks about these books. Duh, I was just looking for the free information. So so I owe you that I bought this book.
Well,
I've
thank
gotten
you
a lot
so
of
much.
information from you.
Well, I tell you, I think that when I broke into doing YouTube, initially it was out of just necessity, because at the time I landed a couple of great interviews on YouTube and that brought in a lot of attention through emails and DMs on social media. But the problem was I was like, I just want to write and publish. And so it was a means to an end where I said, okay, next email that comes through, I'm just going to record a video for it that'll answer it. So that way, anytime somebody asks me that question again, I'll send them on over to that video. And so what ended up happening is within a year, I got so hooked on doing YouTube and I started drawing parallels between publishing books and publishing videos that I said, I'm going to make this work. I'm going to become successful as I am on YouTube as I am through publishing books. So it was just with that fire and tenacity and that, just I wanted to just make it work, that within a year, I would say it was in 2017 of June, I started recording videos every day and posting them. I did 141 days straight before I finally stopped, and said, okay, I've got enough of a backlog. Let's just go ahead and run with this. But what a lot of people couldn't understand was I was a fitness author at that time. And so there were tons of times people were like, hey, I look for your books everywhere, but I don't see anything about self-publishing. I was like, yeah, they're fitness books. And which, by the way, it was nice because I got a good handful of health and fitness books, I'm sure, just from a small subsection of my viewers and such. But eventually it got to the point that I started feeling a little bit of anxiety about it, that I'm like, okay, so there's clearly a demand that I write some books. So it was in 2020 that I ended up publishing the Amazon Self-Publisher series, which was a 3-part series where I talked about keywords in one of them, I talked about promotional strategies in the next one, and I talked about reviews in the next one. And that was almost like a warning shot. So you fast forward to 2021, that was why I was like, okay, let's just finally do this. Let's get, some good books out there and a pivot over to this genre here of talking about self-publishing, because I got burnout on teaching people how to do push-ups. You can only tell people how to do push-ups so many times before you just kind of like, I'm passionate about health and fitness, but not enough to do, gosh, it was over 50 publications. It just got so redundant, and I burnt myself out really, really, really fast. So going into this made a lot of sense because I started building a brand around self-publishing. And yeah, I was fairly ubiquitous. You're not wrong in that aspect. Would I recommend everybody do that? Probably not. I think that a vast majority of my exposure came by way of YouTube. So I ended up having the main channel, which is now called Dale L. Roberts, just my name. And then in 2018 or 19, somewhere about there is when I started doing the podcast, because I was already recording podcasts on Twitch, the live streaming channel. And I wasn't seeing any success, but I was exporting the videos over to YouTube, and that started picking up traction. So that's why I started doing 2 channels. Hence why it's like between 2 channels, I have somewhere close to 110,000 subscribers. So yeah, going into doing books about self-publishing made the most amount of sense. But secretly, as I'd mentioned before, I was just yearning to make that pivot of that boyhood dream of I wanted to write scary books. Like that was what was in my heart and what has been in my heart this whole time. Hence why my brief detour in 2022 to really study fiction. But yeah, people will probably recognize me the most through my YouTube videos. If you've ever searched up anything about self-publishing in any capacity, chances are very likely you saw my bald head. I get pulled up through YouTube searches, Google searches. Google sends a lot. DuckDuckGo sends a ton. Bing. I've deliberately search engine optimized every single video. And if it ever drives you crazy that I don't hyphenate self-publishing in my videos, it's purposeful. It's very purposeful because of search engine optimization. A vast majority of people are searching for self-publishing without the hyphen. So please forgive me if you see any of my videos without the hyphen between self and publishing. It's deliberate in nature. Yes, I know it's incorrect for sure. I had early on, a lot of people are like, did you know it actually has a hyphen in it? Yes, I know. Yes, exactly. So that is a long answer to tell you why I'm so ubiquitous. I got everywhere. I've been on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you name it. But I think my bread and butter is my publishing business for books and YouTube. YouTube had kind of cast a shadow over my publishing brand for the longest time just because it blew up so much faster.
Yeah, that's awesome. And after you said that, I was like, I have read that series. So I went and looked in my reader. I was like, oh, I lied when I said that was the first book I bought by you. No, I actually do have books by you. I just wasn't connecting because you are everywhere. So
Yeah.
it is kind of like, and I didn't know you were on Twitch. I was just talking to somebody. My husband's a streamer on Twitch. And I was
nice.
just talking to somebody, people on Twitch are readers. I mean, this was like 2 or 3 conversations last week of go to Twitch. There's a few writers on there, but it's
Yeah.
not competition. There's like everybody on there is probably a reader, and you can tell what genre they're in by what game they're playing. It's almost kind of a no-brainer. So that's funny that you were over on Twitch. See, now I'll have to go find you on Twitch.
Yeah,
Which is
I
now
haven't
starting to
streamed
be
there.
like a Where's Waldo game. Where is Dale?
Yeah, where's Dale?
Where
Yeah.
isn't Dale?
Unfortunately, sadly, with Twitch, I haven't touched it. I am an affiliate, so I do, earn some money through the affiliate earnings and such, but I left it a while ago just so I could be able to focus more on YouTube. That's one of the things is I really watered down a lot of what I was doing because I was going everywhere, but I had hired a number of people on my team. Within the last year or so, I ended up cutting a lot of them because I discovered that it was, my old friend Johnny Andrews puts it this way, is minimum movement, maximum impact. And I started seeing like, I'm hiring these people to do all these roles that really I don't need. It's a lot of just frivolous spending. And so when I cut that out over the last year, I was like, I'll be darned. I'm like, this is what has been drawing me all the success. And that's what I just recommend to people is don't try to spread yourself everywhere. Don't try to be on TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, anything else. Just find one area, go focus in on it. Like go all in. And then, you will be able to get your, your just desserts, if you will. I don't know if that's the proper term that I'm looking for, but you will get rewarded.
As you enter horror, yes, that's a proper term. Get your
there you go. Yes, exactly. It sounds almost like you're going to get some type of revenge done upon you, but no, I think that if you really want to see the reward from it, find one platform that you are genuinely interested in, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Twitch, whether it's Instagram. I don't care if it's Reddit. Like just find that and just go all in on it. And that's where I saw a lot of my success between 2016 2018, where I blew up and I ended up getting 10,000 subscribers. And that right there was huge. It was life-changing to a certain extent because I started getting sponsorships. I started getting ad revenue. I started getting ridiculous affiliate earnings. Like it was just, I'm like, what's happening right now? I'm like, so just find that one platform that resonates with you and stick with it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's the Pareto. Is it Pareto or Pareto effect? The 80-20, like 80% of everything that you get, like benefit, is going to be from 20% of your energy and time or whatever. So that's what I've been trying to do this year. Is like, okay. And Substack was my YouTube. Substack has been amazing for me. So
Substack's awesome. I love Substack. Yes. I love that platform. My content manager, my former content manager, turned me on to it, and I've been hooked ever since.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Well, I do have a question. I have many questions, obviously, because we're sitting here on an interview. But one thing that I like to talk about, we talk about sustainability on the planet and sustainability, but I like to think of our world as writers and publishers and readers as a sustainable thing that we need to make sustainable. And I hear a lot of people, why are writers charging so much from readers? And then why are publishers not paying more from writers? And publishers going, we're not making any money from them. And why are writers doing this? So I would love to unite us all because we're all on the same planet together. And so I've been asking everybody lately, what are some of the things that, like really one thing that you think that could help that sustainability, help authors support small press and vice versa, and readers? It's a win. It has to be win-win for all of us.
Absolutely. Here's the thing with all walks of business and in life is that could you be successful on your own? Yes. But couldn't you get to that success so much quicker if you locked arms with people with like-minded goals and like-minded energy? Yeah, you're going to get to that goal so much faster if you lock arms with other people. I don't look at other authors as competition. Sometimes you'll hear me refer to them as competition in a video, but really, honestly, I always look at them as peers. I look at it as contemporaries, those folks that aren't working against me because they're raising the brand. Think about the explosion and success of E.L. James and how that really turned erotica around. Like that really, because of her success, she drew a lot of other authors up with her. So think about that from a standpoint, and you don't even need to think about it from an author to author standpoint. So the small press standpoint, For instance, you and I having this interview, this is not a one-sided exchange. I'm not just coming here to exploit your reach and your leverage. I want to be able to prove to the world that we can work in tandem. So the way that I can do that is the people that I already communicate with, I'm going to say, look, come over and check this out. And here's why, X, Y, and Z. There's so many things that you're going to enjoy about this, and this is why. And so this is where networking is absolutely critical. I see a lot of authors, again, introverts, they're too afraid to get out from behind their keyboard and actually apply themselves. So what I would recommend is make friends. Networking is, that's what it comes down to, is make some friends, build some connections, build real relationships, and don't go into it thinking, they're definitely going to reciprocate it. Go into it with no expectations, but also go into it being of service to other people. Because when you can be of service to somebody else, they're going to return that tenfold. It is amazing. Maybe it'll happen tomorrow, maybe it'll happen next year, maybe it'll happen 10 years from now. But all of that contributions start to add up. And this is where you'll see your brand start to explode. So no one's your enemy unless you actually determine they are. To me, I think that everybody that's inside this business, our end goal are the readers. Think about that reader satisfaction. Think about those people that we're trying to positively impact their life, whether it's suspending their disbelief for a few hours a day, or it's giving them a solution to the problem that's ailing them as a nonfiction author. So yeah, think about that when you are trying to become more sustainable. How can I become more sustainable? How can I build this ecosystem so it's a lot more healthy and thriving? It's working with other people and having conversations such as this. For instance, you say like, hey, there's some people out there that, they're charging so much for books these days, and traditional publishing is driving down royalties and things like that. Okay, let's have that healthy conversation. Let's talk to each other like civil adults, that we can be able to move this forward. So that way there is a common ground that we can all meet upon. And that common ground, again, I believe, is the readers. To me, I don't write books just to tickle my fancy because I'm like, hey, I'm going to go back and read my book, 50 times. No, I write these books because I love doing this, because I know that at the end of the day, there's going to be someone somewhere in the world that's going to be positively impacted by what I have done and the work that I put into this. And that positivity is going to ripple across the entire globe. And I hope that that is going to affect another person and affect another person and another person. I don't care what people think about me of when I die. I just care that the impact that I've made within my lifetime has an amazing effect that echoes for generations to come. I don't care if my name's attached to it. It doesn't make a difference to me, because when I'm dead and gone, I'm not going to be thinking about it. So that's what I really think about, is when you really want to succeed in any walk of business or in life, you got to do it with other people.
I'm not going to yell because it will wipe the mic out, but I really want to scream hallelujah. Sing it, brother. Thank you. And do a lot of applauding and whoa.
Yeah.
Just imagine I did all that very loudly, but not break my mic. That's beautiful. That needs to be clipped right there. And not just writers and authors and publishers. We all need that idea of just put it out there. Just do something for someone else. Even if that person doesn't turn around and do it, you've just made the world a better place. That person might help somebody else who also then helps you later. The more that we can put out there, the better everybody is. So I'm just like, hey man, if I wasn't already having like an author crush on you, that would have been it right there. So
thank you.
So thank you. And now let's reciprocate for you. Tell us everywhere we can find you and support you. And buy these books, everybody.
Yes, for sure. You can find me over on YouTube. Just search up Dale L. Roberts. The middle initial stands for Lewis. I have not shared that inside a single interview yet. So there you go. You've got a unique one there. But Dale L. Roberts. If you look up Dale Roberts, you might find me. But I do know that there's a deceased footballer. And there's also, I think, a mystery writer. His name's Dale Roberts. You have to put the L in there so you actually find me. But I'm on YouTube. You find two different channels, the podcast as well as my main channel. And if you would like to join my advanced reader copy team, it's going to be happening ongoing for the next 7 months. you can go over to dalelinks.com/arc team. That's ARC team. dalelinks.com/arc team. You can join me at any point. I am currently open for some advanced readers for book number 2, and that's going to close up by next Wednesday. So yeah, just a day before the launch. So get in if you'd like to get stuff for free. In exchange, I'm just happy that you can go ahead and leave honest feedback on your preferred retailer or Goodreads or even wherever you want to, or just shout it at people on YouTube.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, there you go. Those links are also in the description below. I'm going to go join your ARC team right now because I do want to do that. And also, there's the book, guys. It's on ebook. It's on paperback. I think I even saw it on hardback. Oh,
it just so happens I got the hardback right here.
There you go. So this is the book. And I did scan it. It is, obviously I haven't read it in an hour. But it had information for all levels, it looks like. There was some stuff in there that I was like, oh, dang, I wish I had known that 10 years ago. So
yeah,
very excited to finish this book. Very excited to see the rest of these. And then welcome to horror. We open our arms to you, Dale. Come join us. We have the dark cookies.
Nice. I will take those cookies for sure.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. It's been a huge pleasure. Everybody go clip that one little, well, clip the whole thing, but where Dale talks about how to reciprocate. Yes, that was gold. That was beautiful. That needs to be on every t-shirt. We all need that lesson every day. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
All right. And for everybody else, I will see you again next week. That's our little bit of extra. And thanks for listening, whatever platform you're on. If you enjoyed this, please give me a like and a follow. And for authors that need more submitting and less searching, get both with Authortunities, a weekly calendar of author opportunities organized by date and emoji at authortunities.substack.com.
Write your own path with opportunities.